Okay, can we please hand out, they're coming out now, an infographic called Sponsorship and Sponsor Equity. Here's the problem with every one of you in this room. You all came to me after going to some other guru saying that you could buy stuff, no money down, right? Also, you could spend a lot of money in their courses thinking you were going to be the next Donald Trump. No money down, right? Yep. Yeah. Guess what? Is that real? No. Okay. So, this beautiful infographic is what we're going to be looking at that's being handed out now by the beautiful Caitlin and Amelia. Give them a round of applause, please. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So, before we start this, I want you all to put your fund manager hat on and pretend you're Sal. And I want you to read this and tell me deal or no deal. And I don't want you to say anything until you have a mic in front of your mug. So let's read it together. I have a prospect, who's really a suspect, who has an opportunity to buy a commercial property that he said will be appraised for $5 million, for over $5 million, for $3 million. I don't know what that means. However, he only has $100,000 cash to bring into the deal and no collateral. He asked if we can work the difference between the appraisal and the purchase price can be used for his equity stake. Can we work with him on some way? And if you do not know of anyone, would you provide a loan under these circumstances? What do we think? How many people say yes? How many people say no? Okay, can I hear someone raise their hand and give their meaningful insight to this, please? Raise a hand or I'll call on you. This gentleman here in the yellow tie and the glasses. Yes, are you an accountant?
No, sir, I'm a loan officer for the state of Tennessee.
Same thing, okay. Only you're less honest. All right, anyway, go ahead.
Well, from a loan officer standpoint, I would think that I might give him a fee, but I would not actually loan him money.
A fee?
Well, a referral fee. Take it to somebody I know could actually purchase it.
You're digging for clams.
Okay.
Next. Jerry Strax. What would you do? You need a little spanking, Jerry. Give him a microphone, please.
Well, first of all, just because he says it's going to be appraised at over $5 million doesn't mean it. And if he only has $100,000, I don't know how he's going to do it. If he doesn't have at least 50% coming in somehow, he's not going to be able to-
50%?
Somehow, whether it's partners or mother-in-laws or somebody, but he should be coming back with more than that. I wouldn't go over 50% loan to value.
Would you submit this to someone?
Me? No.
Okay.
I would get a whole bunch
So
more.
stop there. Stop trying to be altruistic and help the guy. Remember, this is triage. All right? The guy has a bullet wound to the heart and the head. Are you going to operate him? No. Yes, in the back, far back.
Number one, there's not anything here to have. I don't know what the current NOI is, what kind of performer there might be, what kind of a capital stack. I don't know what.
There's not enough meat to chew on,
There's
right?
nothing. There's nothing there.
We just went through the entire the entire asset class review. You don't know what that is, right? If this comes in, what are you going to do with it? Throw it. I wouldn't even respond. I don't respond to these. This came across Ask Andrew. And I asked him, I said, who is this? Where did you get this from? Someone I respect and trust. You're gullible. I don't know who the guy, I think he's newer. What else do you think about? What can you tell about this deal? This gentleman over here with the hand raised, yes?
Just that he's completely unqualified because he's asking for the difference between the appraisal and the purchase price. Just outright, that's
What do we
my
know
red
about
flag for me.
appraisals? They're total lies, aren't they?
Yeah. And he wants it as his equity. That's where I would bounce it right there. It's just like,
Why
what
appraise
is
it for
this?
5? How about a cool 10?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. It's like,
Are
do
you
know
going to
what you're
see
doing?
garbage like this? All day long, twice on Tuesday. This is why we're redoing the credibility kit. We were supposed to showcase it here, but it took a lot of time and effort to put together, where people are never going to be able to submit anything to you without filling out a form. Just like when you buy something from Amazon, you have to put your CVC code in and your zip code. Same with this. It weeds out the suspects. Are you going to see deals like this all day long? Yes? Okay. The sponsor's trying to manufacture something. This is totally ridiculous, waste of time. The guy doesn't have any experience. He has $100,000 cash. Somebody's going to take that from him. I know how this ends. This ends in crying. Does anyone want to guess how this ends? No. Raise your hand if you know how this outgo goes. Gentleman over here.
He pays an upfront fee to a broker and gets scammed.
He takes he'll get, someone will create some sort of a bogus term sheet or committal, and then say that the loan didn't, and there are firms out there I don't want to mention, but if you do a Google search, you can see it, who are professionals at this. Give me $50,000, Ernest, and they'll decorate, put together a BS term sheet, and then they come in and say, well, the property didn't appraise for that, so we're keeping the fee, it's non-refundable. This guy is a prime candidate for that. It's morally and ethically wrong, but again, this is where the big boys and big girls hang out, right? Can you work with him in some way? No, I can't. I wouldn't even want $35,000 from him to put together a pitch book. It's a waste of time. Maybe some of you would, that's fine, but not me. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. Am I correct? Okay, perfect. Okay, speaking of deals, let's start with this one here. I'm trying to hide the name of the innocent. I can't do that, okay. Well, we know it's Rick. Okay, Rick, raise your hand. Thank you. All right, so when you're lambasting someone, make sure you look at him. Okay. The problem, opportunity. Case A, experienced real estate developer who is looking to construct spec homes but cannot get approved for a traditional construction loan from a conventional bank. What do we know about this? It's construction. What don't we know about this? Raise your hand. It's what? The city, the number of homes, one home or 500? No, don't justify it now. It's too late. Don't justify it now. Okay? How much is he bringing to the table? What's his experience? What town is it in? Detroit? No, thank you. No offense. Where is it? Where is it, Rick? Houston. What do we know about Houston? It's underwater, right? Oh, Rick. Literally and figuratively. What else do we know about Houston? What's it tied to? How is oil doing? Okay, so Rick, give Rick the microphone.
Yes, Sal.
Rick, why did you submit this?
Because you say you needed an answer this weekend, so I just threw something out there just to, give you the answer for the email. I don't really have this deal. I just created it. It's a scenario I just created for you. It's a makeup deal.
You could have picked a bigger town than Houston. This is true. There's a lot of people who, and people are going to judge you, and they're going to think you're ignorant and stupid. They're like, does this guy not go to a gas pump at all? Really? There are certain towns that you can't go near today that are radioactive because the price of oil has gone down. And the only reason why fracking, and I'm just going to go off on a tangent, but this is important. The only reason why fracking and everything else was working was because there was a lot of debt to support it. And you needed a very high dollar per barrel price in order to service the debt to make it profitable. Does that make sense? So politics aside, whatever, when the price of oil came down, that single-handedly wiped out the entire fracking business in this country. Because if you look at each one of the companies that do fracking, they need to cover, on average, $92 a barrel. Okay? What do the Saudis have to clear? 12. So do you think that they know what they're doing by, bringing down the price of oil? Sure. It's all gamesmanship, global gamesmanship. So when everybody say, well, I know it's a big bet on the back end shelf or something like that, I'm like, are you crazy? Here's what this deal says with Rick in the room. Number one, I don't read the newspapers. Number two, I don't watch TV. Number three, I never went to a gas pump before in the last 3 years. Number four, you can tell that I also do my Christmas shopping for my wife and kids the night before by going to Walgreens. So I'm going to give you the same shrift that I give to you. This is a first-class way to get blacklisted and put into a spam folder of any institution. It's not thoughtful, is it? You're just flinging something. Okay? So there's not enough information, but the cities are important here. Everybody clear on that? Okay. There's a lot. Who's from Oklahoma here? Okay. New Dominion? You heard about them? Okay. That's a wildcatter right there. He's losing a lot of money right now. Do you want to invest in foreclosures? You go to, what is it? It's Prague, Oklahoma? And you're going to find a lot of people out of work who are going to be pre-foreclosures. You're going to see apartment complexes go up. You're going to see all sorts of opportunity. Isn't that great? That's trading on insider knowledge. Is that good or bad? Well, it depends. If you're doing real estate, it's legal. If you're doing it in the stock market, it's illegal. Unless you're an elective representative of this country, then you can do whatever you want, unfortunately. And you can trade on insider information. Okay, Rich, the hit parade's out on you right now. See if you've done any better with this one. Case 8, loan request is $2.5 million for 4 spec homes. He would like to develop a lender for future developments. I'm sure he would. No institution is going to want to do anything for development less than $20 million. Nothing. Don't even think about bringing anything as far as, if we look at this in our infographic, remember, when we get to the types of transactions here, and we're looking at the opportunistic ones, right? This is what we're looking at. It's not stabilized, right? Okay. They're not going to want to do anything less than $20 million. 4 spec homes? Okay, Rick. Why 4? Why?
Well, this guy is a developer who went.
This guy.
The developer. He went bankrupt in the 80s. So he wants to start over again.
What's he been doing for the past 30 years?
Working. He had a job, job. But he hates his job, so he wants to get back into development now. So he's going to start with 4 homes and hopefully sell them all out and then, parlay the rest.
He's getting in at the wrong time, probably.
Right.
Would you agree?
I agree.
Okay. That aircraft is sort of leaving the carrier right now. It's just
Too late.
Are we clear on that? 4 spec homes. I see this. You know what this looks like? It looks like somebody found it off of Craigslist. And deal sourcing is so important because people want to see when you're bringing them something. If you want to have did we release the conversation we had with one of the other competing funds where we had a conversation and we were qualifying them and they were qualifying us? Do you know what I'm talking? Was that a continuing ed? It should have been. Yes, anyway, if you bring enough good deal flow in and they can see it's meaningful, that's how you get invited to their company holiday parties. That's how you get the bottles of wine shipped to you at Christmas. That's how you get, invited to other conferences because you're actually putting in the effort to make and source deal flow. Some people here, not in this room, some. But most of the people, what they'll do is they'll go find deals that are basically have no chance of getting funded because they go towards a source that they don't have any, they think it's just like throwing and hitting the forward button. There are no deals on Craigslist, there's no deals on LoopNet. Okay? If you tell someone that you found a deal and you sourced it on LoopNet, they're just, why? Why? What they're looking for is an edge. What's your edge? Well, I'm calling banks. Here's my banks. Anything below $3 billion in assets, that's what I'm calling. And that's where we're finding, that's a really great idea. Hey, you want to come to our company party? What's a mailing address? I want to send you a box of wine in a month. Whatever it is. Does that make sense? You're adding value there. You're adding value there, and that's so important. Okay, let's go on to another one. All right. And we're just oh my gosh, this is like a long one. Who is this? Oh, that's Ralph, of course. Thanks, Ralph.
Ralph right here.
I know. This is the same one. Okay, CMBS assumption. How many people want to learn CMBS assumption? Only 3 people? I need the whole room, guys. Okay. Thank you. So here, these are some of the situations we're coming across right now. Here's another one I think that's important. Ralph, first of all, this is great. I appreciate you putting this all together. All righty. Who's Carrie? Carrie, thank you. Yes, he's in the hot seat now. Carrie, I'll tell you what. Why don't you come up here? Have a seat. Riley's getting tired. No, he can get the direct. Okay. So how are you, Carrie? How long have you been with us, Carrie? Speaking to the mic, Carrie.
Just over about 14, 15 months.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, great. Let's go into the first one. Here's the problem. Okay, stop. Okay, you're going to see this. Now remember, we're focusing on this seminar, we're doing what we call capital placement, correct? We're placing capital from Danju or other institutions into these deals. But you're going to see things that are going to be, what are you going to do with them? Problem opportunity. Deal structure. Seller needs to prevent further cash drain on its resources. Well, isn't that every seller? Right? Isn't that every seller, Carrie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Doesn't have immediate need for cash from sale. A assumes CNBS. That's slang for CNBC, which is the station with stock touting bubbleheads. Okay. Assumes CNBS is really, I can't say it. CMBS.
It's CMBS.
Loan. Okay. Seller, you've been reading our material, thank you. Okay. Seller takes back either equity or preferred equity or debt depending on cash flow needs. C, capital raised from equity partner to cover pro forma cash. D, value based on lesser pro forma. Okay, I see all this stuff. Okay. So what does he need? What's the story here? This doesn't look like it looks like somebody's smoking you out, right? They're just trying to kick the tires to see what they can get for their asset. What was your desire for that first case?
My desire. I don't understand the question exactly.
Micah, what are you trying to tell us here? Is this something that is this hypothetical? Is this a real deal?
It's a hypothetical.
Okay, it's a hypothetical. Okay, we'll cover this with deal structuring tomorrow. Is this something that you've seen in the past?
Actually, it's similar, yes.
It's similar. Has anyone else seen stuff like this? Nobody's seen this. It's all over the place, guys. It's all over the place. How many people would want to assume stabilized assets with assumable loans on them? How many people don't? How many people are not going to raise their hands no matter what? Okay, thank you. At least you're honest. Okay. Seller needs all cash to move from another project forward. Okay, so you need to either say they need cash or not. That's what you need to figure out. When you're looking at these deals and you're qualifying them, you got to find out, what do you need? What do you need? What do they need, Kerry?
Well,
I know
that's
there's a lot
that's
here and
case-
everything.
That's
Oh,
case
case
B.
Okay.
Case A is separate, doesn't need cash.
So case
B-
A is you're trying to structure a win-win situation where you can assume a loan, give the guy something, right?
Yep.
Okay, we're going to talk about that tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, great. Case B, seller needs all cash to move to another project forward. No?
Move another, he's got 2 projects.
Okay.
Or more,
So he needs cash.
yes,
Everybody needs cash.
yeah.
But why is this? Okay, so now you're missing case A and B. So you have a seller that needs all cash.
Yes.
Okay, so what do you want to do with that? Every seller on LoopNet needs cash.
Okay.
So how's this different? What's the unique proposition here? What's the key event here, or what's the secret sauce in this deal? Why it's so important? Why not flip it to a REIT? That's a question, Gary.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I don't see that is a good, I don't see that that's a particularly good case.
Okay.
I wouldn't, it wouldn't be something I would be interested in per se.
Okay.
It's just something that I see is every time you talk to someone,
All sellers want cash.
yeah, they go,
All
it's an
sellers want
all-cash
cash.
deal.
Yeah.
And the question is it really an all-cash deal, or does he need some cash? And,
Well, you have to figure that out. You have
Yes.
to peel back the layers of the onion.
yes,
Okay.
yep.
Case C cannot assume CMBS for some reason. Well, if it's stabilized and there's already debt on it and you can't assume it, what are you going to do with it? Why is it worth looking at? Because the other person who buys it, one of the beauties of a CMBS loan is what? You can assume it, right? Here's something that you don't know or your seller doesn't know because he didn't read the docs. Those loans cannot be paid off. Peter will be here tomorrow to talk about permanent financing. Those loans cannot be paid off. They have a massive prepayment penalty called a defeasance. You have to educate him that, tell him that.
Okay.
For some reason, he might not want that, but he signed it, and he has to, if he doesn't hold true to his promises, he'll be sued. For some reason, we'll need to bring bridge first to carry the property. It's not going to happen because what's going to happen with it is that if there's already a stabilized CMBS on it, bridge loans will only go up to 65%. Some loans today, as far as permanent financing, will go up to 85% LTV. So it's going to have to take a haircut. Plus, you have to add an extra 5 points on the loan, probably 10 on the loan, so that you can actually get it to remove the defeasance. And you're not going to be able to do that, right? So it's over leveraged, but that way. We'll get into that with deal structuring tomorrow. Need an equity partner to cover the skin in the game needs. Where is that equity part? What do you mean skin in the game needs? A reserve to bring property online, can then refund, sell as NOI is accepted. Who accepts the NOI? Is there a court? What does accepted mean, Kerry?
I'm trying to remember.
Who accepts it? I don't know. Primarily to reduce debt costs.
I think it's as accepted.
Okay, good. All right, so this is all you're seeing, and this is enough. Give Kerry a round of applause for this. It's great.
I guess I won't make it as a fiction writer, will I?
No. Don't quit your day job, but you're actually doing a good job because I can tell you actually went through the training, unlike some other people here, but we're not going to name names, so, okay. Just kidding. All right, yes, I get it. All right, let's move on right after lunch. A nice hearty infographic to go into. How about that? All right. Wrong infographic, sorry. Let's go to this nice pretty one. This is what we call portrait infographic. This would be landscape. Everybody understand? Great. This is where everybody who doesn't study the material gets all screwed up. Not all sponsors are the same, not all equity is the same. What is equity? Anybody? What is equity? Marcel?
Yes, equity is ownership in something. So in terms of real estate, it's owning a piece of it, either 100% or some percentage of the underlying asset.
Okay? So equity in this standpoint is having some sort of an ownership stake, a skin in the game, the
Yes.
proverbial skin in the game, correct?
Yes, sir.
If everybody who bought a house in 2007 had put down 20% down payment, do you think they would have skin in the game and not let it go right to the bank on an automatic default? Okay. Do you understand that equity is what keeps the interests aligned between the investor and the sponsor or the operator? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So I want you to forget anything anyone's ever told you about no money down commercial real estate. Yes, there are deals that do that, but you have to get them at a very low basis. Very low basis. Or you just what? Flip it, right? Risk-free arbitrage. Risk-free cash flow is flipping it. What's the risk? It doesn't close. Then there's no cash flow. Okay. So let's go over here. Keys to selecting the right sponsor. We're going to get into deal calculus after this because that is going to tell you what you have to solve for. Remember calculus? No? Okay. You have to solve for something, correct? So here's the keys to qualifying this. The sponsor or owner, operator in a commercial real estate transaction needs to be suitably qualified in the following areas. Infrastructure, have the appropriate organization to take the project. They have to have an organization set up. It can't be a standalone dentist, okay? They have to have, here's who we do, it's probably all outsourced. Here's our management company. Here's our contractor, our subs. This is what we're going to be doing. This is how we're putting the pieces together. You are not, and no institution wants to be the research and development department for some guy to school and learn off of them. There's no first chances when you work with institutional money. And unfortunately, a lot of people lose their livelihood because the doctor, dentist, retail, mom and pop money don't know any better. They don't know how to ask the difficult questions. These are the difficult questions. You have to do a sponsor due diligence on any deal. You do this. Construction, be qualified to manage the construction needed to rehabilitate the property. How many people have dealt with contractors? Are they pleasant people to work with? Do they always do something that they're supposed to do? Last night, my wife told me a horror story of somebody pouring concrete and walking away. Why? Because they paid in full the contractor. That happens all day long, doesn't it? All day long, twice on Wednesday and Friday. These people, they don't have the same, they're always in trouble, they're always in a pinch or something, okay? They need to know how to manage this. Management, be qualified to manage or oversee the day-to-day operations of the property and tenant marketing plan. This is for value added. Okay, do you know what you need to do today? Do you know why you need to do it today? Do you have the priority of tasks that need to be done? You don't hire a leasing broker until you have it 75% down the line. You don't hire a leasing broker first. Does that make sense? You don't go out and worry about getting new investors for another deal if you haven't finished this one yet. The biggest reason why real estate, why I like it, why it's an equal opportunity wealth creator, is because there's a human component to it. It's naturally inefficient. People are always going to screw up. Always. And that's where you find it. That's where you find the opportunity. Leasing. Are they qualified to oversee the leasing effort? That's very important. How are we going to be taken out? How are you going to get that permanent loan if they can't lease it up to its highest and best occupancy? Not saying 100%, but darn close to it. Here's something where everybody goes broke. This is where the opportunity is. Staying power. Having sufficient net worth to support the property if unexpected costs overrun the budget or delays occur. Does this guy look like he has sufficient staying power? No. He's going to get fleeced, this guy. He is. So let's talk about sponsor equity now. Guidelines for sponsor co-investment amounts. 5%, not very desirable. It creates an option value. What do I mean by that? What does that mean? Let's think. I'll just pick on people. Amelia, over there, that gentleman. Name and where you're from?
Mark, Los Angeles.
Yes, Mark Rios.
Option value, meaning he has the option to stay or go if it goes bad.
Yeah. That's it. I only have 5% down. I can walk away from that. And you know what? Where's that 5% coming from? 10%, marginal but must have going-in merits that make the probability of success high. If this person has a strong track record of doing this, that's fine. If he's buying it at a very low basis, that's fine. Other than that, it's really, marginal. 15%, normal and acceptable, a good starting point. All right? This is cash, by the way, cash equity. Cash equity. 20% or more co-investment indicates a sponsor who truly believes in the asset and business plan. That's real money. That's real money. Real skin in the game. $1 million property, how much is that? That's meaningful, isn't it? You see, when you talk to institutions, you guys start to do this, and I'm just going to start out. My first fund, I didn't have really anything into it except for legal fees. It's a whole different story. But the way we ask for money is not how we deploy it. Does that make sense? There's a total, disconnect there. Total disconnect, double standard, whatever. They'll always say, okay, well, if we get hurt, we want you to get hurt too. That's why you see developers say, well, I pledged my vacation home, I pledged this, I pledged that, and it blows up. They get divorced for the second time, and they dust themselves off and start over again. It's a joke, but it's true. They want to see that you have something at stake. When you guys are running your own funds, you want to make sure that your investors have something at stake. Any questions on this? Any? In the back, yes.
How much cross-collateralization could you apply towards, say, the 10 or 15% on this for someone that didn't have the cash but he had the other property that he could pledge?
How much cross-collateral?
Yeah.
How much does a bag of groceries weigh?
Okay.
What's the answer?
Well, okay, say you had someone's needing 15% to go in, and they had 10. If they had enough of other collateral or equity in other property that they could pledge to make up the other 5, could you accept on that?
I think what you do in the negotiation, you always ask for more
Okay.
in the beginning, and then you wind up with what you agreed to. We've done it before in the past where we've just basically have just cross-collateralized properties by putting liens on them, and we put in the loan docs a default on one is a default on all.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay, perfect. Good question though. Yes, question over there, Mark from Los Angeles.
What's an example of going in for the 10% going in merits?
Going in merits?
Yeah, like
Low basis, strong operating team, strong partner that knows what he's doing. Partners that have worked together for a while, that know and love each other. They just didn't meet at a seminar. They've worked together. They might have come from the same development company. That's that.
so those are all things we could suggest to somebody
Exactly,
who's a
yes.
weak sponsor.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, there's not suggest. It's things you look for.
Okay.
It's things you look for, okay? Now, any other questions? Any other questions? Is anybody here involved in a syndication deal? Okay, stay close to Dave Dejewski.
Raised my hand again. I should have done that.
Okay,
All right. What's my question?
nothing. Just hold on a second. Let me start. Is all equity created equal, ladies and gentlemen? No. Why not? Cash is cash, isn't it? No, you're shaking your head. Why not? Somebody raise their hand and give an answer. Mick, what's the answer? Wait for the microphone. Amelia? You guys have to be a little faster, okay?
Again, you're going to have to repeat the question.
You don't know?
No, I didn't. I can't remember what the question was because I'm running on empty here.
Okay.
Flying all night.
Here's the question. Is all equity equal?
No, of course not.
Why not? It's all the same. Money's the same color, isn't it?
Well, equity is basically value over cost in what we do.
Now people are starting to wake up. Give the phone. Rick wants to redeem himself. Mick needs a no dose.
Well, equity, also experience plays a factor, not just equity. I mean, everyone has, like doctors have money, right? They can
Okay,
put cash
experience. So wait a second. So you care about the color of the money, the currency, or the experience?
in. The experience. I don't want to take the property back. I want to get paid back my loan plus interest.
No, we're not talking about operators. We're talking about equity.
Equity.
If somebody comes to the table with $200,000, does it matter where that $2,000 comes from?
Sure. It's got to be clear funds. It can't be, the origin's got to
funds.
be clean. It can't be, drug money.
Actually, you know what?
Okay. In real estate, I guess
Do you know what the biggest money laundering organization in the world is? I'll give $20 for the first person who yells it out. Mick, what? Mick? No. You got it. Come on up and get it. It's not the banks. It's not the banks. Anyone here in Las Vegas can walk up with a briefcase full of cash to a lawyer's office, open an LLC, and buy a property for cash. There's no know your client rules. None. Give him a round of applause. Okay? Okay. Yes, over there. Yes. Where's the equity come from? And I'm not giving you $20.
If the money's coming from like your mother-in-law, somebody that you have an interest in versus somebody that you can cut your losses with, that makes a big difference.
You're getting warmer.
So like
You're getting very warmer. Let's get this gentleman over here. Kerry again.
Money has different bargaining power with equity.
Put the phone. Yeah.
Money has different borrowing power from equity. For example, if you got Warren Buffett to invest, it might help you raise additional funds, in which case he can get a little sweetener on his deal over
Okay,
other
so
money.
equity is different. Not all equity is the same, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Back here, we're going to go back. He wants to make more money. I'm not paying you again. Drinks on him, by the way. Okay, go ahead. Yes.
Apply this to the next Andrew product?
Huh?
Can I apply this 20 to the next Andrew product?
Sure. You talk to Tracy, she'll take care of you.
All right.
Yes.
No, equity, you've got preferred equity, common equity, and then market equity.
Okay, that's fine. But I'm talking about where the equity's coming from.
Okay, the equity is be coming from, the money that is brought to the table. But then you have the market equity on top of that. That is
No, you're very smart. You went through all the materials.
Okay.
But if I show up and I'm asking you for a loan, and it's $10 million, and I'm bringing to the table 20%, which is $2 million.
Okay. Where are you getting that $2 million? Is it coming from your mother-in-law? Is it somebody that you put an ad in the paper and said, I need
There you go. You hit the nail on the head.
People at 500,000 each?
Exactly. This is what we call the difference between personal equity and syndicated equity. There are people out there, and one of the first deals that started to come in from people were syndicated equity deals. And what they were doing is that they were going out, and it's the same thing we're doing with AJ's fund in a way, but we also have experience in institutional alignment. But what they would do is that they would borrow money from people who they had no idea what they were doing. No, yeah, we're going in a real estate deal. They don't know anything about this. They don't know anything what they're getting into. They just think that they're in a sexy real estate deal that they can talk about, and it's great cocktail conversation. And what happened is that you have no alignment of interest with someone who's giving you money that you don't know, or they can't find you, right? Because you're behind a management company and 2 levels of an LLC, correct? Yes or no? But if that money's coming from you or your mother-in-law, you don't want to lose your mother-in-law's money, do you? Yes or no? No. Okay, do we understand that? It's very simple. You have to ask, where's this equity coming from? There are all sorts of roundabouts. I'll just cancel the deal. We had one guy who was smart. I don't know. Was it Mark? Or is it Neek? I forget who it was. But they sent a deal, and I'm like, how much are they bringing to the table? Well, how much do you need them to bring? It's like, that's not a question. How much do they bring? Well, they can bring junior equity. I never heard of junior equity. What's junior equity? Well, they're going to pull it from their fund. Well, I thought they didn't have it. You know, it just seems like they're just making up things to go along. Either you have it or you don't. I want to know where it comes from, because that's going to help me manage the risk when we underwrite the deal. Does that make sense? Okay, if the guy's coming in with 20% and he has none of his own money into it, he's controlling a $10 million property with none of his own money. That's high risk, don't you think? What's going to keep his eyes, and what's going to keep him holding through to his promises if things go wrong? How is he going to raise more money around something if he's already levered up all the way? You'll see it. Senior notes, you know, all sorts of stuff. You'll see it. It's interesting. All right, Dave Dajewski has a personal story. You have to tell this, and it's important. We got to make sure we have the camera right in your face.
Which story am I telling?
This is the story when you came to the office, and this is something you talked about on Ask Andrew, but this goes to what we're talking about on Saturday. This is very important because people are going to be sold things and they have no idea what they're getting into. And Dave came to the office one time and I won't tell the punchline, but he said something. I'm like, that is the greatest line I've heard all day. You know, it's like, where are they in the